Hey there, everybody, and welcome to a new video practice. I'm Kristin from Teaching Balance, and I thought that for today, for this particular session, that it would be interesting if our theme be something a little more abstract and a little bit more conceptual. And by that, I mean the idea of turning towards the uncomfortable. Which may not sound like a particularly comfortable topic to explore. However, I do think that there's value to it. And if you've been practicing with me, as we've been going on for these past few months, I'm sure, have been focusing on just that attention and being present. But there really is a whole component to mindfulness that is about this notion of radical acceptance and openness, and I'm always hesitant to use the word, but surrender to the moment. And it doesn't mean that you're actually saying that something is okay, but what instead you're doing is you're opening yourself up to at least allowing it to be present and to get comfortable with some potential discomfort. So what that can look like is, if you think about, in our lives, we're just kind of designed to seek out the positively affirming, the pleasurable, the joyful, and we tend to turn away from and try to distance ourselves from things that are not pleasurable and painful and uncomfortable and awkward and all those sorts of things, whether it be emotionally or physically. And so a big part of mindfulness, as I am saying, is this idea of becoming comfortable with discomfort, whether it's physical or whether it is emotional or psychological. So the physical piece, if you are choosing to sit for 10 minutes, whether you're sitting on a cushion or in a chair or whatever you may decide, sometimes you may notice that there's going to be a little bit of discomfort, whether it's because your knees have a hard time, or whether it's about holding yourself in an upright posture for a prescribed amount of time. But it's just sort of the way it is, whether it's a result of illness or a result of just aging or injury or whatever it might be. And so when people talk about or tell me when we're practicing that they experience some discomfort, one of the things that I always invite them to do is have that discomfort be something that becomes the object of your awareness during your practice. So if we're thinking about like a physical pain, perhaps like in your back or something, really just trying to look at where are the boundaries of that pain? Where does it exist and then cease to exist? What are the qualities of that pain? Is it like sharp or dull? Is it about a tightness? Is there a heat component to it? Not literally, but a perception of there's a warmth to it, perhaps a coolness to it. So just really exploring that with an interest and a curiosity from a third person perspective, almost as though it weren't your pain. And one of the things that is useful about that, you've probably heard me talk about this idea of whatever your experience might be, putting it on the stage and allowing yourself to be the witness up in the balcony. And so it's just another form of that. And again, it's not like you're into the pain. It's not like you're trying to feed it in any way. You're really just looking at it in a different way. Like, this is what my pain feels like in this moment. And of course, if you choose to move or if you choose to, change your posture or whatever it might be, that pain will change. It's not always as static as we think it is. So that's the physical piece. And then when it comes to the more emotional, psychological piece, obviously, we don't want to think about typically things that are troubling. Maybe I feel bad because I think I hurt somebody's feelings when I said something offhand and regretting that. And again, it's not about feeding the pain and beating yourself up at all. Instead, what it's really about is just feeling what that feels like, allowing yourself to perhaps bring it up. And I'm assuming that it's coming up automatically in your practice anyway, if it's a topic for you. And so really when you're sitting, just noticing, what do I feel like when I allow myself to experience this memory or a painful, like perhaps a fear or anxiety about the future? what does that feel like in my body when anxiety is present? And just allowing, you don't have to take this deep dive because that's not the point. You don't want to overwhelm yourself with it, but you want to just allow it to be present. You've heard me talk about the fact that when we practice, it's not about pushing your thoughts away. If anything, you're seeing them with more clarity as images in the movie of your mind. And seeing the fact that they aren't actually happening right now. The only thing that's happening is you're sitting and you're practicing for however long you've decided to do so. So seeing that anxiety, seeing that regret or that guilt or whatever it might be, and really just, this is also a phrase I have mixed feelings about, but almost kind of making friends with it. Like not best friends, but you're just acknowledging its existence and you're just letting it be there. You almost can think of it as letting it sit there next to you for the time that you choose to practice. And it's, again, a little abstract, like what's the point of that? But one of the things that typically happens is when we push something away, an image or a thought or whatever it might be, our fear of being present with it, our fear of facing it can often give it power because you don't want to see it, you don't want to think about it. So I would say take that power away by seeing it for what it is and naming it an anxiety, a fear, or regret, whatever it might be. So the invitation for your practice today, on the outside, it's really just going to look like it always does. But on the inside, if anything comes up, whether physically or mentally, that is something that has a little discomfort to it and you're not pleased it might be present, think of that as an opportunity to try this out. And maybe it'll happen for you with this sit, maybe it'll happen with you on another sit, but I just want to kind of plant that seed to play with it because it again, with all of these practices, I think is very empowering and really allows you to be much more the master of your own experience and your own mind. So that was my big long intro. Let's go ahead and get rolling. Excuse me. We're going to sit for 10 minutes. You'll hear the bell to start and then the bell to finish, and I will lead you throughout. So go ahead and find that mindful posture. Sitting in a way that is upright but not rigid, either with eyes open or closed. As always, I invite you to take a few deep breaths as a way not only to activate the relaxation response, but also as a way to drop into your body a little bit more. Feeling the boundaries of where your body ends and the air begins. Feeling gravity as it holds you in your seat. And the air as it makes contact with any exposed parts of the skin. And knowing that you have several options as the anchor for your awareness. You can either rest your attention on the breath, perhaps riding that wave of a slight up on the inhale, down on the exhale. Or you can listen to sounds inside the room or outside the room. Just maintaining that awareness from moment to moment. and allowing the practice to be a little passive, that you are receiving the sounds. You don't need to strain to hear them. Some may be constant, even perhaps a ringing in your ear, and some will come and go. And then, of course, the third option would be to just rest your awareness on your body, either one part or your body in its entirety. And since our theme today is getting comfortable with discomfort, perhaps noticing, is there any parts in your body that have some tension or have some discomfort? And perhaps playing with the idea of having that be the object of your awareness or your anchor for today. Without feeding the discomfort or thinking about why, but just noticing it, that witnessing perspective. And as thoughts arise, as they inevitably will, not pushing them away, but just seeing them for what they are. Perhaps memories, regrets, ideas, plans, worries. And once again, perhaps for this session at least, paying special attention to the ones that are a little more uncomfortable. Noticing what you physically feel when that emotional discomfort is present. If there's anxiety, where do you feel that anxiety in the body? If there's sadness or grief, where do you feel that? Again, not feeding it, just noticing it with an openness and a curiosity, allowing it to be present without giving it power over you. Coming back again and again to that present moment awareness. Allowing yourself to rest in this moment and take a break from the habitual way we typically follow our thoughts. Returning our awareness to the present moment, whether it is just an open awareness or on one of those anchors. And seeing if, as best you can maintain that presence for the final few moments of this practice. Continuing to notice and observe the breath, or the body, or sounds. Keeping your awareness here in the present moment, just for a few moments more. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And that's 10 minutes. So thank you for your practice with me today. Thanks for taking the time for yourself. And I hope you have a very good week. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye.